There are moments in life when your mind has made one decision, but your body has made another. You tell yourself you're fine, that you'll rest after this deadline, after this weekend, after this event, after one more thing. Until one day your body stops asking you to notice its needs and starts deciding for you. Today's conversation is about what happens when your body forces you to listen. Imagine waking up one morning and discovering that the life you've spent years building is suddenly too much for your body to handle. Crowds become overwhelming, work becomes impossible, even leaving the house can feel like climbing a mountain. That's exactly what happened to today's guest. Talia Zaken is someone many people in Cape Town know as a DJ, event host, and curator, interior designer, for those of you who didn't know, and just an all-round creative force. Someone who was constantly surrounded by music, people, and movement. But after experiencing a concussion and what became months of debilitating burnout and nervous system dysregulation, everything she knew about herself was turned upside down. This is a conversation about identity and healing, and her story is incredibly personal, and I'm so grateful to her for being open to sharing it with us. But I think the questions that it raises and the lessons learned are universal and can be applied to all of us. So this is time for us. And welcome, Tali.
Thanks for having me.
Yay. This is great.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back.
I know you're back.
And I think in the last one we spoke about burnout.
Did we?
Yeah.
Did you go back and
No, I just remember it. And
Oh
I
my
think like it
gosh.
was even like in your like subject heading.
That makes sense. That's actually quite alarming.
We actually like manifested this.
We predicted the future.
Yeah.
That's frightening.
We witches.
And what's it like, the upgrade? It's a pretty like good upgrade, I think.
What upgrade?
Like my studio.
Oh yeah. I mean, you know I love it.
Yeah. I know, because you helped me.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. She's
yeah.
great. She's funky.
Okay.
I think we need to do a full tour at some point. Like people don't really see all of it.
No, people don't see all of it. I should
No.
actually do a full tour.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, funny enough, to the notes of like just randomly sliding in interior designer into that intro.
Yeah.
Tali helped me pick out the color for the walls here and really helped me curate the space, because whatever direction I was going in before she stepped in was frightening. And we will release a video or something to illustrate exactly what we mean by that.
Yeah.
But that's not the conversation for today. So thank you again, Tali, for being here.
My pleasure.
It's so nice to sit opposite you on the couch again. So we're going to start with before everything happened. If someone had met you 6 months before all of this happened, how would they have described you, and what did your life look like?
I would say super busy, super ambitious. I was doing a lot, juggling a lot. I wouldn't say a people pleaser, but I like to say yes for myself. I think I tied a lot of my worth and value to productivity and success and doing as much as I possibly can. So was working in the music industry, doing curation and bookings for a lot of South Africa's leading festivals, was doing working in the design and art industry for a couple of companies, businesses, local artists, exporting their stuff overseas, to handling production and logistics. I was running my own event, I was DJing. So yeah, I was super busy, but I think people could see that side of me and could acknowledge that.
What do you mean by that?
I think, people would like look at me or look at what I was doing and acknowledge that it was a little bit too much.
I got
I'd be like, okay, someone would say, what do you do? And I would say XYZ. They'd be like, ooh, that's a lot, overachiever. It was pretty obvious to everyone but myself.
Yeah, I think I remember having a similar reaction to that, because
Yeah.
you were busy and juggling so many things and
Yeah.
bouncing between like 3 different jobs, basically.
Yeah, lots of freelance work and just like also just taking on whatever, not really respecting any boundaries of time of my own. It was whatever would come my way, I'd be like, yes, let's do it. Which, yeah.
So did you think that you were stressed at the time?
Yeah.
You did. You could feel it.
I could feel it. Look, I think the stress that eventually happened in the end was compounded over years and years and years and years. I think even before I moved to Cape Town, when I owned restaurants in Johannesburg, very, very stressful time of my life. And I think I never really dealt with anything. I never dealt with any stress. I never dealt with any emotions. I never dealt with any negative things that would happen. I would kind of sweep under the rug. So the stress that eventually did happen, or the burnout that eventually did happen, was a result of many, many, many years of not handling or not dealing with stress the way I should. I think I would, in the past, pride myself on being this like formidable force where, you know, vulnerability is weakness and we must stay strong and we must keep pushing and keep persevering. And that's how I lived my life. And that was my demise. That's kind of what fucked me up. So, yeah, I think the stress that happened over the years, obviously, I knew it was happening, but I didn't deal with it. And then, yeah, towards the end of life, like, I mean, I was stressed, always busy. But I think I became aware that it was a problem last year, September. And I was like, whoa, something is not right. I went to Australia for my cousin's wedding, and it was like a really nice family holiday. But instead of taking leave like a normal person, I was like, no, I can work at Australian hours. So I can work through the night and then also participate in all the family events during the day. And I think that 2 weeks of not sleeping, working through the night, and then being present for the family in the day, that was the catalyst. That was like the beginning point where I just started unraveling. And from about September, October, I was also going through a lot in my personal life with relationships and family and friends and things like that, which obviously it all adds up. So I think, yeah, and like around October, even work started commenting. So, you know, like, you know, you're not performing, you're not on it anymore. Like, what's wrong? What's going on? Is it something we did, you know? And from that, when I'm like, okay, it's actually leaking into my life now, I was like, something is up. But then I also was like, okay, I've got all of this work to do. I've got census coming up in December. I've got all of this stuff. So I'm going to push through all of this stuff, and then I get to rest once it's done. And that was what I kept on saying. I was like, it's fine. I'm just going to push through all of this and get all of this work done. And then I'm going to take off like a week and I'll be fine. And that was like the thing that was driving me to get through the stress, was like just push through.
It's crazy, hey?
Yeah.
And the thing that's so dangerous about doing that is that probably when you get to the end of that push through, you just think, you know, as the intro said, just one more thing.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're in the mindset or hardwired, which it sounds like you were, towards just achieving and like hustling and keeping on going, it's really hard then to pull the handbrake. Like, what the fuck do you even do?
I mean, there was no handbrake.
Yeah.
I think like I said, which I've learned about now, which I had no idea about before, limiting beliefs was tied to success. That in order to be worthy, I had to be successful. And success looks like lots of different things. You know, it looks like productivity. It looks like monetary achievement and whatever it is. And, you know, your nervous system, if you're thinking, cool, I'm only worthy if I'm successful, then it actually becomes, it ties into your safety. So it's like, I'm only safe if I'm successful. And then your body won't let you stop. Like, you know, you sit down for an hour to just chill and that feels wrong. Your body's like, this is wrong. Like, you're relaxing. Like, this is unsafe. You need to get up off your ass and do something, which is so unhealthy. Like, I did not know how to rest.
How did you come to understanding or unpacking that limiting belief?
Therapy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So therapy throughout this process
It's
of like
only
healing.
now. Yeah, only now.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm doing work with Loretta. She's amazing. She's actually not really a therapist. She's a life coach, which is better for me. I don't really need to like talk about my feelings. I need to talk about a way forward. So yeah, we've been doing work on limiting beliefs and just your views about yourself, the world, people around you, and basically learning about your patterns and how to break those patterns. So it's really, really incredible work.
Earlier, you said that there were moments when things started cracking and you were like, fuck, something's happening. What were those signs? Was it just a feeling in your body?
I think I just became one, emotionally flat. Like, couldn't show up in all relationships, work, friendships. Like, things that would normally excite me didn't. Nothing excited me. I was just, yeah, so flat, so exhausted. I was usually a very motivated go-getter type of like, let's do this kind of energy, and no matter what it was, I just wasn't interested.
Which is unlike you.
Very unlike me. Very. I was just exhausted. I was anxious. But I think like the biggest warning sign is that emotional flatness and that inability to feel excited about things that actually do, like, they do excite you. And I think that was like the biggest telling sign. And just like, yeah, just kind of switched off to the world.
Yeah, geez, I remember the night that the concussion happened, because it was folks, and you played, right? Yeah, you played back to back with Pirelli.
Yeah.
And yeah, you were flat and like, yeah, had nothing to give.
Literally,
I remember that.
I remember a friend of, and I think about it all the time. Alexis, if you're listening to this, I think about it all the time, and it actually is one of those things, sometimes that you like fixate on like, oh. But I hadn't seen her forever. She's a friend of mine from high school, and she lives in London. I haven't seen her in ages, and she's like so excited to see me, and she's like, "Tell me about your life. Like, how are you?" And I was like, Lenny, I don't know how to say this, but I actually can't talk to you right now. Like, I don't even have words. She's like, what do you mean? Like, stop being a little bitch. Like, talk to me. And I was like, I don't even know why I'm here. Like, I can't even get words out of my mouth right now. I was like, I need to go home. Like, I don't even know why I'm pushing. And that's what I usually, that's what I would do, push on. And in my mind, I'm like, why the fuck am I here? Like, just go home. I'd played at Billy's Beach the night before, and then the day before that, I'd played at a Sanctum in Paarl. So it was like a event in Paarl, then the following day fly to St. Francis, play in St. Francis till 4 a.m, and then catch the early flight at, I don't know, 8 a.m. to come and drive straight to folk. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this lifestyle also doesn't help.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was just like a blank wall.
Jeez Louise, I'm so glad that you came out of that. If I look at you now and I like hold up in my mind's eye a side-by-side comparison, it's like chalk and cheese. And I feel like you went through a dark night of the soul.
Yeah.
This whole experience.
Yeah, that is so true. Jude said that to me, our energy healer. Yeah, she said, I didn't even know what that was before, but just like, babe, dark night of the soul. Yeah. She also told me that I was one of the reasons that Atlantis is underwater. I was a decision maker in putting Atlantis underwater.
So maybe this was just karma. Delayed karma.
It makes sense. Everything is linked.
Everything. Past life.
Yeah.
This is past life karma coming back to bite you in the ass.
Yeah. Just for killing a whole civilization. Yeah. Makes sense.
That's crazy.
Small price to pay.
Like, I would believe it, honestly. Okay, so looking back now, and we've kind of touched on a bit of it, but it might just be nice to put a bow on it. What was normal in the way that you were living, that you considered normal in inverted commas, that looking back, you're like, actually, that was completely fucked and like completely unsustainable behavior?
I think the first thing was not listening to my body. 9 out of 10 times when I was tired or when I could feel that, even if it was like going out and staying later than my body wanted to, and in my body I could feel, oh, I'm tired, but like, nah, just keep going. Saying yes when I actually didn't have capacity to work or to people or to anything, just not respecting my boundaries and just being the yes person, being the person who stays, being the person who does everything. At that time in my life, it was very much how I lived, and I didn't see a problem with it at all. But I think, not respecting my own boundaries was probably...
Do you feel like you even knew what your boundaries were and you just let them get stepped over, or had you never even thought about what a boundary is? Because I know you can feel the boundary, but you can't always put into words that, oh, fuck, this is what that feeling correlates to. It means I'm overstepping here. I'm over pushing, I
think in some aspects of my life, yes, and some no. So I think when it came to relationships with work, friends, family, whoever it was, with people, dealing with people, not really. But when it came to dealing with myself in an environment, like, say, going out too late, I was very aware. I was, I could feel my body wasn't happy, and I actively chose to just ignore it. But I feel like, we can all feel in our bodies what's good for us, and we become very good at ignoring it. I think having that relationship with your body and actually listening to your body 9 out of 10 times is what actually gets you to that healthy space.
So we kind of touched on this, which was like the day that everything happened. For context to anyone listening, that was the go play at Sanctum, fly to Billy's Beach, fly back, go play at Folks.
Yeah, like at the end of December, it was 29th of December. Yeah.
Wow, the dates and everything.
Yeah, babes.
And then can I tell the story?
Go for it.
Okay. And then...
You were there.
I was there. I was the only one present.
Yeah.
Not something to be excited about, but yeah.
It kind of is.
I was the only one. Then we left Folks and I was in the car with Talia and we were going to, which is also now, again, crazy pants over here, being so exhausted and still agreeing to go to, where were we going? P&G for another drink after Folks. So Talia drove us to like the road where she lives, which I won't disclose, which is very far away. Okay, wait. Backpedaling, big time. Changing, going back. I'm about to list the name the road you lived in. Okay. Talia drove us back to town, and we were parked on this one street, and I think I wanted to borrow a top from you because I was wearing some skanky little thing at Folks, and the sun had now set, and I was like, okay, I really want to put something a little bit more comfy on, and she happened to have some clothes in her boot.
Well, I had driven straight from the airport because I left my car at the airport. So I had driven straight from the airport to Folks and then got dressed in the car at Folks and had like 20 minutes to get on stage. So I still had my suitcase with clothes, my laptop, everything in the boot.
I've just remembered that I still have that top of yours and I must give it back to you.
Yes, I'd love that.
Yes, okay. Just remember that. Classic girlfriend thing. So you were lending me a top and we were getting it out the boot, but the road that we were parked on was a little bit dark and quite quiet, and there was some stragglers around.
No, there was a very dodgy, like, homeless man who was just standing at the window for a long time, and we were kind of freaked out, so we stayed in the car and waited for him to walk away, which he did. And then I think as we got out the car, he started like walking at a pace towards us.
Yeah, he came back.
Yeah.
He came back to the car, and at this point, so the thing is, the clothes were in the boot. So we had to get out the car, open the boot on this like dark road, and there's no one else around, and then get the clothes out. And obviously you don't want to reveal that there's stuff in the boot.
Yeah, laptop, clothes.
Like there's loot in the boot. Yeah. Like homeless man, if you're interested, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think we started panicking, and then you on your car, you pushed the button to open your boot, and then I think you like pushed it to like semi-close it. And in the like hurry to try get things out the boot, ducked your head into the boot.
Yeah, and then I think I also closed it. So I think in my mind, I was like, kind of like Mission Impossible movie when they have to like slide through, grab the thing, and then like come out, and then the door closes. So in my mind, I'm like, I can make it. So I was like, I'm just gonna like slide in grab the jacket and
Yeah.
slide out, and I'll be fine. So I think I had my remote in my hand, and when I did that, I closed it at the same time, and then I just went straight into
Drove your head. So you drove your head straight into like the metal hard closing edge of your boot.
Yeah.
At like full speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I just remember you basically
On
were
the
like,
floor.
you just dropped to her knees. You were like in a slow squat, like just on your haunches.
Yeah.
And then obviously we've got the loiterer, homeless
Yes.
man circling us.
Yes.
And I didn't even know what to do. I did such a, I think we'll touch on this later on in the episode, but it was such a strange thing. And it took me a long time to reconcile what was actually happening to you and what the event was. That obviously there was a whole lot of backstory, but that concussion and like watching you hit your head, then it doesn't seem that bad.
No.
It's not like you got hit by a truck.
No.
It's not like there was blood.
Yeah.
You just hit your head and then things got really bad. And it was really hard to be like, oh, fuck, actually Talia's not in a good space.
Yeah.
Because it's abstract. It seems abstract.
Yeah, it just seemed like such a minor little thing. But just, I mean, I can touch on it now a little bit. But basically at that stage, I didn't know I was burnt out. And burnout causes inflammation on the brain. And so does a concussion.
Oh, wow.
So I think having them at the same time made it a lot worse than it would have been if I had a healthy brain. And that's why it was so bad.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that I have here actually was, were the doctors able to explain what was happening? So is that kind of it?
Jeez, I can't even count how many doctors I saw, all for different things. Initially, I didn't know I was burnt out, so I didn't give them that information. The first doctor that I saw just straight up was like, you have a concussion. And for the full month of January, I thought it was just a concussion. Only at the end of Jan or the beginning of Feb, I was at another doctor and mentioned that I was feeling burnt out before. Then the whole narrative changed. Then I started seeing a doctor for my hormones because burnout affects your hormones. And I actually, at that point, changed the view on my recovery from trying to recover from a concussion to now recovering from burnout. And I could now kind of dive deep into the healing that needed to happen for burnout and not just for a head injury. So in the beginning, the first month, I didn't actually know. Yeah. But I also, not really the doctor's fault because I didn't really give them that information. It was just like, I hit my head.
Yeah, it must have been so frustrating also to have a concussion and then feel like, why is this not getting better?
And it was actually really funny because it's not funny, but it is funny. Mira Pirelli had a concussion before me. And then the day we played back to back was her like the end of her concussion date. Like it was like the end of her 6 weeks or something. And then that was the day I hit my head. So we just like joke how we're like, because we also have had this joke since I was 18 that we're twins. So we just have this joke of that
passed it on.
Cosmic twins. Yeah.
Sisterhood of the traveling concussion.
Yeah.
So at what point did you realize that it wasn't something that you could push through? Actually, and also on that note, can you tell us what it was like what a day in your life was like?
The first week, I don't actually even remember it that much. I couldn't look at screens. I couldn't listen to music. I couldn't listen to podcasts. I couldn't even process conversations. Really intense headaches. And yeah, I also struggled to sleep. So for 7 days straight, I just lay in bed staring at the ceiling because I couldn't do anything. And yeah, it was just this very weird space of just lying in bed with a wet towel over my head and not being able to do anything or think about anything, just in this lost empty space. Very, very strange.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, what were you thinking about? If it was a ruminating or looping kind of thought space, or it sounds like a nightmare. I must just say
the first week was the concussion symptoms were really bad, that I could just focus on the pain actually, because I was in a lot of pain. And that was all that I could really wrap my head around. When the concussion symptoms subsided and it was not so painful anymore, but I was still stuck in that nervous system dysregulation. So I still couldn't handle the conversations or the phones or the noises or whatever, but I wasn't in pain, just subtle headaches. That's when the looping started. and I became this like you know, in the movies where like it actually happened to me a few times where like things spin and then the like high pitched like ring comes like "Ee," and then like they spin and they're like out of control and the like big like fish eye lens comes on. That's how I felt.
Oh my gosh.
No, I swear.
That's
And
crazy.
it was like that for a long time where I would like loop, and I eventually learned to anchor myself. There were a few things that would like anchor me. The one thing I'm like still am helping Chad redo his interior of his house. So I would be like, right, we're doing the house. And in my mind, I would walk through room by room and in my mind redesign each room and think about where I can source each thing. And it would be like a whole project, and I would just lie there for hours, just like that would be my anchor, something like that. But I would have to force myself.
How did you come up with that? Did you do some research and then?
No, that just because I felt every time I did think about that, I instantly felt calm in my body. So I think just from understanding that feeling, I would try to get back to that. But that being said, ChatGPT became maybe a little bit unhealthy, but like saved me. Everything I thought, everything I ate, everything I did. From the moment I woke up, I would send it a voice note of how many times I woke up in the night, what I was eating or what I was thinking, what I was feeling. Anytime I would spiral, I would just send it this like 2-hour long voice note. And it just, it gave me the most insane tools to deal with everything that I was dealing with. It put everything into perspective for me on my health, my body, what was going on inside me. It gave me things to eat. It gave me exercises to do when I was, overwhelmed. And it just, it really was the most incredible tool.
I'm so glad to hear that it was a positive experience with
chat. I don't like. At some point, I even asked it. I'm like, am I depending on you too much?
What did it say?
It's like, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was like,
yeah, but don't go away.
Yeah. It was like a little bit. I was like, cool. So like, let's start a system now where like instead of trying to coddle me and baby me, when I give you this information, it's just me checking in for myself. I'll say, okay, today I did XYZ and I'm feeling XYZ. You don't have to give me like this whole intellectualized response. You can just be like, cool, good checkup. And it started doing that actually for a while, and then it went back to it's all bullshit.
What an interesting tool. I mean, like, thank goodness that you actually had access to that in this period because of the level at which you were isolated.
Yeah, I think that a lot of it came actually from isolation. I live by myself and I couldn't process any difficult information. I couldn't process, not even difficult, I couldn't process my own emotions, but I also couldn't process like conversation. So when people would try to come visit me, I couldn't handle it. So like my body would literally freak out. So I was like, wow, I can't be around people, so I need to be by myself, which in hindsight was really bad because we don't really understand the power of co-regulation. But at that time, I didn't know what I needed. And what I needed was just a body next to me. I didn't need like a conversation about what had happened or unsolicited advice or anything like that. All I needed was someone to sit next to me and crochet next to me. Like that's all I needed. And I think, people coming over being like, why didn't you do this and why did you do that? And have you at that would stay in my body. Like I would get these like I don't call them seizures, but like it felt like a seizure to me.
Like tremors kind of.
Yeah, like my whole body would start like freaking out and I would get the loud ringing noise and I would get dizzy and I would collapse and like couldn't handle. But also needed co-regulation. So isolating myself for however many weeks I did was really not a good idea. I just needed actually just a grounded person next to me. That's all that's all I needed.
Eventually you did seek that out.
Yeah, I did.
What emotions came up for you while you were going through this?
Wow. I think for a long time I was very out of touch with all my emotions. I was very much like sweep things under the rug, have this very hard shell. So being faced with so many emotions was very new to me. But also burnout is nervous system dysregulation, which is basically a whole body shutdown, and that also includes your mind and your thoughts. and your ability to think clearly. So things became very overwhelming for me. Just even walking for like 2 minutes. I would try just walk out down the stairs and like out into my like gate area. That would send me. So I couldn't actually believe any of my emotions in that state, because knowing that my body and mind was overwhelmed by walking downstairs, I was like, there's something. I can't trust anything that I'm feeling right now. And I actually just need to surrender to whatever is happening. And over time, when I start getting better, then I can start actually sitting with whatever emotions are coming up. But in that was just so much fear. Is this going to last forever? Am I always going to be like this? A lot of loneliness, because it's very hard to describe. First of all, I couldn't talk. So I couldn't really describe what was going on, because I couldn't even vocalize what was happening internally. I looked fine. I didn't have any physical damage. So for people to look at me, they're like, well, you know, she looks fine. Actually, I look like a shell of myself. But like, it was a very like a lonely experience, because I couldn't, one, have those conversations with people without spiraling or collapsing or whatever it was. So I felt very misunderstood. And I think, you know, there were such amazing friends in my life that like just completely redefined friendship for me. You know, it's very easy to be a friend to someone when things are fun and happy and dandy, but when fucking tough shit happens.
Yeah, when shit hits the fan.
When shit hits the fan and you see the people that show up in the ways that they do show up, it just, completely redefines relationships and friendships. But in saying that, it was very tough with some people, especially I think with my family. They don't live here. So my support system here were friends. And because in the first few weeks, I couldn't be on the phone, I couldn't talk, they didn't actually really know what was happening. And it was tough. And then eventually when they did understand what was happening and they came here, there was a big disconnect, because they hadn't seen it for, I don't know, however long. But they also couldn't grapple with what was actually happening to me. They didn't understand. I don't think many people understood.
Yeah.
I had no idea that this could happen to a person. I didn't know concussions were that bad, and didn't know burnout even existed. I thought burnout meant being tired. I didn't know that it was that. So understandably, like, it's very easy for people to be like, I don't really know what's going on here.
Yeah, and also
because
like
I
you're
didn't
making
know.
it up. Kind of like, well, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe she's being dramatic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably would have had those thoughts before all of this happened. So yeah, it was very, very difficult time. It was a lot of emotion that was unwarranted, because it was just my body not being able to regulate. So it was just like a big fucking mess. But then a lot of emotion that stemmed from that.
Like stemmed from the experience.
Yes.
Do you feel like, as you're describing it to me, I almost had this like idea in my head that came up of this burnout and the way that your body expressed it kind of being like a purge, almost like a purging of all those suppressed emotions and all the suppressions and things that happened before. I don't know if that's an accurate assessment.
Someone said to me that burnout is toxicity minus self, which really resonated with me. And basically how I interpreted that is, if you're living life in a way that's toxic to you, which might not be toxic for someone else, but if it's toxic for you, and that might be, you know, not dealing with emotions, not closing your stress cycle or your stress loop, which I can explain in a bit, but not doing things for the benefit of your health, or staying in the toxic job, or staying in the toxic relationship, or whatever it is that is not good for you, that you persist, you lose yourself in that, and that's when you burn out. I think whatever I was doing wasn't good for me. And like, I started meditating quite a lot during this process, and my mantra was, this is not happening to me, this is happening for me. And I think from the beginning I had this outlook, even though it was so hard.
That's such a powerful thing to latch onto.
Yeah. Even though it was so hard, that was like my driving force, that like whatever is happening right now is happening for me. And whatever was happening before this wasn't working. This is a reset. This is a full reset to recreate your life in a way that aligns with every inch of your being, and not behaving in a way that you think you should, or trying to prove yourself or trying to prove your worth, but actually living in full alignment. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that you've segued perfectly into the next segment. Segueing into segments. I love that for me. I can't help it. Sometimes I just like alliterate or do alliteration. And yeah, anyway. Okay, so the next segment.
You're stimming over this.
Stimming, okay. You need to ground myself back in reality. The next section is about your healing process and what surprised you about healing. So you've mentioned now one of the tools that you cultivated was meditation and this mantra of this is not happening to me, this is happening for me, which I think like flies in the face of the experience you were having, because it must have felt so much like it was happening to you for you to say that as a mantra. Like I don't think you could have thought of a more powerful
I
one.
lost absolutely everything, had to stop working.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot also was going on in my life outside of this. So it was relationships, friendships, work, house, everything you could think of that are your like pillars of life was changing and was problematic in some way, which is on its own a huge contributing factor to chronic stress or burnout or nervous system dysregulation. So I think having to figure out healing methods or tools to deal with not only the burnout but like all of that was like imperative to my survival even.
So which tools would you say made a difference for you?
It's so crazy because I wouldn't call myself unhealthy. I would eat well and I would go to gym, but I wouldn't really I never really like did anything that was like good for me before this. You know, if someone would say, oh, you should try cold plunging or breath work or meditating, I'd be like, don't have time for that. But it's actually quite crazy how incredible all those things are. So breath work saved my life. Meditation, cold plunging. It's, you know, it's all very well to do those things and feel good after, but when you're feeling so dysregulated to the point where you can't even see straight, and then you do some breathing and you do a cold plunge and you feel 100% after, it just like showed me the power of it.
In terms of the meditations and stuff, I know it was you were doing Sri
Yes.
Sri Ravi Shankar.
Yeah.
Sharon's boy.
Yeah. And Dave Item put me onto that app.
And then the breathwork stuff as well. Was that online stuff that you were finding?
Breathwork. I mean, I had like certain routines for certain moments. So, you know, when I'm like very stressed out, there was like, it's basically just counting. So like either 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out, or 4 seconds in, hold for 4, out for 4, in for 8, out for 10. Things different, you know, different techniques for different times. You know, if there's a time just you're feeling great and you just want to relax, or a time when you actually feel like you're going to have a panic attack. Cold plunging, I was literally not even like going to an ice bath, just going into the ocean. Like the ocean's just powerful. I think there were a lot of grounding tools that I learned that helped me. The one that I loved the most was the senses exercise, to bring you back into your body and to bring you back into the present moment. So you say 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. So you just sit, have a little like meditation session, do that, do some breath work. Exercise is probably number 1 on that list. Obviously couldn't exercise in the beginning, so I had to walk every day, and those walks were started at 1-minute walks, and then every day they would just get more and more. But yeah, a walk in the morning, hydrating in the morning is just, yeah, everything with electrolytes. Sleep also even better than exercise. Yeah, 9 hours of sleep every single night, like prioritized over everything else. Like sleep is just, yeah. Oh, nutrition. When all of this happened, I started seeing a doctor at the hormonal health clinic, and what they do is they take a whole bunch of blood tests, and after the blood test, they put you on supplements based on your levels. And what I didn't actually know is that burnout is hormonal. It affects all your hormones. Cortisol is a hormone, and cortisol is your stress hormone. And when you're in burnout, your body's overproducing cortisol, which then affects all the other hormones in your body. It affects your insulin, it affects your adrenaline, it affects your whatever else, which then affects your gut and so on. And your whole body just gets affected by this. But what assisted in that was eating balanced meals with the right amount of protein, carbs, fiber, and fats, and just general boundaries, like listening to my body, not overcommitting myself to absolutely anything, and just resting and really, really listening to what my body needed for the last 7 months.
Like a complete change of pace.
Completely, yeah.
It's pretty amazing though that you entered a dialogue with your body. Like, you know, that you started, I guess you were forced to, but that you started listening to its language.
Yeah. One thing also that I can highly recommend is Yoga Nidra. I have the most amazing link that I listen to pretty much every night. But Yoga Nidra is basically a meditation that puts your body into a deep rest. And it's like a full body scan. So she guides you through like focusing on your head, then your eyelashes, then your eyeball. Goes through each part of your body, but her voice is just so calming. But yeah, I can highly recommend. Yoga Nidra is a full nervous system reset. It is, if you can do anything for yourself every day, I would say this is the one.
I haven't done it in so long.
Oh.
You've actually inspired. Now, as you were just even talking about it, I'm like,
yeah,
relaxing.
Best.
So we've touched on in the beginning your identity before you had burnout, like this go-getter, doing everything, yes to everything. Now aware of what was or probably still pervades this limiting belief, because I don't think you can just cut it loose, and it's probably something you'll be working through for a while. But the limiting belief of
forever,
like success is
there.
attached
it's part of
to
me now.
worthiness. So who are you becoming now, would you say? Who is the Tali that's emerged from the other end of this whole saga?
I mean, I don't think I've changed like fundamentally. I would say I'm still ambitious, and I'm still wanting to create and produce and do the things that excite me, but with boundaries. So I'm very aware of my limits. I'm very aware of my emotions. I'm aware of what my body wants, and I'm not willing to jeopardize my health for that anymore, which I didn't even know was possible before. I didn't even know burnout existed. I think I'm the same person, just with more knowledge, more boundaries, more respect for my body and myself and my time.
So your relationship with ambition, how do you think that's been impacted?
Yeah, I think it actually, you know, my therapist said that it's actually PTSD. You can get PTSD, which I actually think I have from this, because it's a huge trauma.
Yeah.
And your body actually gets scared I get scared to start working again. You get scared to start doing normal things, because you're like, what if I'm going to go back into burnout? So when I got this big job opportunity, first thought was, I don't know if I can do this, because what if I go back to that space? And then like you go into this like stress loop of not knowing what's good for you or not. But I think there is this deep knowing and deep understanding of what you can and can't handle, and I am still learning that. So my ambition is still the same, but I think what's changed is my relationship with success, or the idea of what success is. And you know, before it was how much you can achieve, or how much you're doing, or how much you're earning, when now it's more about having your health and healthy relationships, and having a life that is aligned to those things, as well as doing the things, but with a balance, and with just being able to respect your boundaries.
Yeah, touched on it now when you're saying one of the metrics, if you can call it that, of success for you now is your relationships and having healthy relationships. And earlier we did chat a bit about this one question, which is how people responded to an illness they couldn't see.
I mean, going through something like this, if anything, just showed me the power and importance of having community and having people around you. I was listening to this audiobook about burnout, and she says that stress within your body is a cycle that needs to be closed. So at the end of every day, you need to close that loop in order for your body to kind of go back to baseline. Stresses can look like anything, like being stuck in traffic or anything that makes you feel like you want to punch a wall or work or relate, whatever it is. That gets stored in your body if you don't close the loop and get rid of it, essentially. And she listed all these things that you can do to close the loop: breath work, humming, singing, or in yoga you chant om.
Yeah.
It's actually because the vibrations tone your vagal nerve, or they calms your vagal nerve, which it puts you into a parasympathetic state. All the things that we mentioned, meditating, breathing, but the one thing that she mentioned that I didn't think about was hugging, hugging your partner for an intentional 20 to 30 seconds where you're standing up straight, neither one of you are leaning on each other. It's this intentional embrace closes the stress loop cycle. And I just think that it's so important for us to understand the power of relationships and just co-regulation. She's saying that just by us sitting next to each other, our heartbeats will sync and will start beating at the same time.
It's wild.
It's crazy. And I think I could really, really feel that when I was around friends or family that knew what I was going through to some extent, but they were there for me. And when I wasn't in a good place, they would just come and sit and be. I think that was the most powerful thing. I think one thing that people need to learn is to not give unsolicited advice. I think we should normalize asking people what they want from an experience or a conversation or whatever it is. If I'm going through a tough time and I'm vocalizing what I'm going through, I think we should normalize, would you like me to give you advice, or would you like me to just listen? Would you like me to hug you? I think that is so powerful. And I think when I was in that state why didn't you try this? Or why didn't you do that? I don't need that. It's not helping. It's not helpful. And if anything, it's actually making this worse, because it's making me feel like you're just diminishing everything I've just said to, why didn't you just try? And I'm like, do you not think I've tried? I've been trying. So I think that's just something that I've learned from this. I've also learned, I've gained so much empathy and sympathy for others. I've never really been through anything like this. I've never had any mental health issues in my life. So kind of understanding anxiety and depression and all the things now. And it just, take my hat off to people who go through this every day, because it's no joke. I got sick a couple of weeks ago, and it was quite bad flu, and my friend's like, oh, you okay? I'm like, babes, this is a walk in a park compared to mental health. I'm like, literally give me food poisoning any day.
Yeah.
I will be strapped up to drips in a hospital with gastro, shitting and vomiting.
Yeah.
Take that over mental health any day.
Yeah.
Back to the relationships, just the importance of having grounded community around you that understand you and that are there for you. It's everything. It really is.
And has your relationship with nightlife and I guess the scene, the scene that's related to being a DJ, has that changed at all?
I mean, drastically, yes, this year, because I haven't been participating at all. I think I've played 3 gigs, and that's just me arriving, playing the set, and leaving. That's not to say that I'm never going to go out again, because I definitely will. It's just I have a lot of boundaries now, where before I would go out to all hours and I would just push beyond my limits, and now I don't think I would ever act in a way that disrespects my body or boundaries ever again. It's not worth it.
That's such a powerful sentiment.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap. Yeah. Have you redefined what balance looks like in a way?
Yeah. I always thought I was balanced, and I tried my best to be balanced, but this has really just opened my eyes into what that actually is and what I need, where before I don't think I was fully aware. And even if I was ignoring it. I think I always knew the importance of it, so I was trying to do the best that I could, but now I really understand why it's needed. And I think when you have that understanding from experience, it makes it almost imperative. Way before it was like you're just trying to do it because you know it's good. But now it's like almost a matter of survival.
Yeah, I'm really proud of you.
Thanks.
And I think that can sound conceited when you say that to someone, but I really mean it. Yeah, you've done a lot of work to get here, and probably even at times too much. Like, I'd imagine sometimes it must have been a feeling of just doing everything to try get better.
Way too much. But also, yeah, I think if anything, if anyone's going through something similar, the first thing to do is ask for help. So I think just reach out to a community and see a therapist that you trust. That's, if anything, because I think I did that quite late, because I'm also not a professional. So
yeah,
you're
not a professional, but you're speaking through experience.
Yes.
And giving us the scoop.
Yeah,
Thank you. Giving us the tea.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation, Tals. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's so nice. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this conversation has really helped me think differently about how it's imperative that we listen to our bodies. I think it's so easy for us to go through life ignoring this vehicle and this flesh suit and kind of just thinking of it as something to get us from point A to point B. But truthfully, this, I think, conversation is a good example, maybe even a fair warning, that we need to listen to the messages that are coming through our bodies and actually take care of them and ourselves, I think, more so than getting caught up in the rat race.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the conversation, Tals. If this resonated with you guys, please let us know, and share this with someone that you think might need it. I hope that you really enjoyed it. Yeah. Thank you for making time for us.
Thank you.
Bye.